So I guess the question might be, what is a microbeam? Well, a microbeam is basically a small micro beam. And so here, these are just a few examples of some things that I've been done in the past. This was a post, and it is for like a bed, 4.5 by 4.5, totally hollow on the inside. Well, that's a microbeam. It's when you talk about one of those being 4, 5, 6, 8 feet long. Very difficult to do without the proper equipment, right? And that's all cherry. So I've got 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. And being that it's a post, it's hollow. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with it. This is a railing that I did for a customer. And that was 2 pieces of cherry. And I had to router the hand grip in there. But again, I left it hollow so that we could put wiring in there and even some steel that went into that whole railing project. This is black walnut, very similar. I forget what this was for the project, but that was rustic walnut. And the only way you can get that type of thing is by using a glue up. Same thing on this one here. And that one is a spalted material. I don't even know, might be, it's a very spalted maple. It's very light, so I'm not sure what that is. And then here's a combination of species. So here I've got some black walnut, and then some maple, and again that forms what is basically a beam, like that would be for a bed, a rail, and so on. Here's even a larger one yet. Again, I think that's ash on the top, black walnut veneer on each side, and I have no idea what's in the middle. It might be pine even, something like that. But again, that's a micro beam. This is a smaller one. This is a foot for a little table, and again, black walnut on one side, carved the feet into it. And again, that's the way that that thing was made, was by putting it into, by clamping it, was all a glue up. And then another one, this one's cherry. You can see, you can even cut angles on them, you know, miters on them for, like, again, this would be a typical stair rail. In fact, this was a prototype for a stair rail, meeting all the codes and everything else, and button up to a post like that. So that's a micro beam. Then here's some really, really simple stuff, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just using up some old 2x4s. So that's 1, 2, 3 ripped 2x4s, and that actually, these are, we didn't even work that hard on these, but they're turning out pretty nice. And it's just a great way to use up a bunch of scrap construction lumber. And these are, again, these are micro beams, all done on these jigs right here. Here's a couple of that I did again. And this is a cherry post. And again, the only way that you can get that type of wood is, and that's oak, I'm sorry, and that the only way you can get that, you're never going to find a post in those kinds of dimensions. That's 4.5 by 4.5. I'm thinking something like that. Yep. And you'd never get a post like that. And if you ordered it, they couldn't kiln dry it because it would be too thick, right? And it would, so therefore it would have all this potential for warping and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And then any fasteners you put into it would basically be eaten alive by the wetness, the greenness. And this is another one. This is a combination of this is a spalted maple, but that's actually 4 separate pieces. And the only way that I can get that joint to come out that tight, so you can't even really find the joint. You have to really, and that's through doing it as a micro beam. And then the difference is here, I cut the ends off and then put a black walnut cap going in the opposite direction. And then here's a longer one. It's in process. This is a cherry for a bed rail. So again, that's all cherry. It's in process, so it looks pretty bad right now. But when this is done, this would basically be a very, very nice, awesome looking piece. Plus I keep that rusticity in there. And again, it's hugely straight. And the reason for that is that because I'm using 3/4, 3/4, and then a 3/4 in the middle, but I'm making that sandwich. And that again is done on a MikroBeamer. So these are all various versions of microbeams.